bride ends up disappearing from the world. Suddenly, she appears a week before the wedding to, "Hey all, I'm a first-time poster and really freaking whiplashed by this current situation. I own my own flower shop and a potential bride touched base with me around June about getting a custom package together for her October wedding. We had a site meeting at a venue I work with closely with her planner, and I sent over a proposal. Well, the bride only responded back a few days later saying that I didn't fit into her budget. Okay, and flowers are expensive, flowers are perishable, and I am an in-demand florist. I live in a tourist hub. Yeah, I know. COVID is on my mind every day, but bills have to get paid. And I have been freaking slammed since we opened back up on Mother's Day weekend. And I mean 2 to 3 brides every other weekend, which is insane for being mid-pandemic. Anyway, so she didn't respond even after I followed up to clarify my initial pricing guidelines based on the fact that at that time she had no color scheme, no flowers picked out, not even the faintest idea of what she wanted or was planning for. This is a $20,000 wedding. It's crickets until the end of July. Okay, cool. She called then asking if I was still keeping her in mind. I honestly hadn't. I asked her if she had thought about my proposal anymore or if she had finalized anything so that we could start planning. She hemmed and hawed and says that she will get back to me. I told her I was booking up and that she needed to sit down with her planner, who I hadn't talked to since the meeting in June, and figure out what we were doing. I get wedding planning is chaos and that COVID has put a monkey wrench in all things, so I wait. More crickets until mid-August when I send out an obligatory email checking in, asking if there's any info or if I could assist in pushing her along to getting things actually on my board and in my account because I don't order stuff until I'm paid. More freaking crickets. So I go along, making flower dreams come true as I do, and this cow calls me on the Saturday past 7 days before her event and asks me if everything is ready. Ma'am, I do not work for you until I am paid. Full freaking stop. At this point, I had figured she booked the other florist in town. No biggie. He does beautiful work, almost as good as mine. I hadn't planned anything, ordered anything, or put any further thought into it. I spoke to my venue contact a while back through other projects, and he said he hadn't been able to get any clear direction from her and wasn't going to push it. Maybe someone's gotten sick, maybe the relationship is over. Who knows and who cares? I'm just the florist. At this point, there's no payment, no contract, no direction whatsoever. So I go into full HBIC mode to keep good relations with the venue, with the bride, and to get a chance to do some stellar work. I tell her to email me because now I want full records, beyond what I already keep, documenting every bit of info we exchange because I know she's an oncoming storm. She refuses. Doesn't matter because I'm out of the office until Tuesday, September 29th, for personal reasons. I email her again to tell her to send me the info and CC the wedding planner. So she calls again the next day, Sunday. I'm still out of office. I email her again and tell her I'm not going to go into town from my mountain hideaway because this is her problem, not mine. She finally sends the email. Pretty much the same non-information I started with, except now they've added more flowers. Fine, she will pay. Oh yes, she will pay dearly. I write up the quote and charge her for the rush order because I have to. Had she responded anytime before September, we would have had every financial break they were pushing for wedding season at our feet, and I always pass my savings along because it's good for business to have happy clients come back even with the cost of flowers going up. The planner finally emails me. She's had my info since the jump, but only to send a timeline. I send her an email to communicate the current state of things, including the fact that they are now over budget for me for what I had to quote and I need to be paid tomorrow. No exceptions. It's now 10:30 p.m. on Monday night and I'm pretty sure crap is going to hit the fan tomorrow. I'm excited though. I'm finally financially stable enough to tell people to screw off. Professionally, of course. Any other florists here who have been ghosted but the bride still thinks there's flowers on the way? Any of y'all think I should have done or said more in the lead up to this or what? Update. Wow. Was not expecting my previous post to blow up half as much as it did. Thank y'all for being kind, funny, and just as ready for this crap show as I was this morning. Alright, now to the good part. Zoom meeting starts at 10 a.m., so I'm ready by 8 a.m. in my best war paint with my coffee visibly steaming in a way I only wish I could. I woke up to a stream of emails this morning that the bride and planner had sent trying to figure out who dropped the ball. As freaking expected. I do not reply, but I go through these emails with all of the receipts these two have sent between them since June when I became involved. At no point after our meeting do either of them mention the flowers in exactly 7 emails between them. How the actual crap do you plan any major event with just 7 emails? I usually average about 20 to 30 emails with my brides, and I just do the flowers, so I already know this is going to be a mess. They've CC'd everyone involved: the venue, the caterer, the photographer, and the band. Sweet Moses. I call my venue contact prior to this meeting and he simply asks, "What the heck?" I ask him if he saw any mention of me at any point past June in these emails, or if they had even mentioned anything in their communications with him. The silence is telling for the moment, before we just both lose our crap laughing and he sighs like it hurts. I'm told to be easy on her, so she doesn't cancel everything. I make no freaking promises. 9:07 a.m. rolls around, and the other town florist calls me out of freaking breath laughing after I sent him a bolo the night before about these 2 idiots, and he tells me that the planner called him as soon as he was open to ask about his availability for this weekend. The other florist straight up tells her he's already talked to me, and even if he was available, he's not getting into this mess she's caused. Apparently, she's gotten married again recently, and he didn't know her new name, but she hadn't changed her caller ID. He has a history with her, and apparently, obviously, she's a frick-all planner. He tells me to have fun because I'm neck deep in the crap now. Now I'm fuming, not for myself as much, but for this bride. From her emails, she seems to think that everything was on track and that all she had to do was say yay or nay and have her future husband sign the check. I make a few quick calls to some other vendors because I need every bit of ammunition for this one. Now it's 10 a.m. and I start the meeting. We're all sitting there exchanging good mornings. Bride looks tired and stressed. Planner looks anxious, and my RBF is in full form. Not even going to freaking play today. Everyone seems to wait for the first person to speak, so I take a sip of coffee, straighten up in my chair, and fold my hands in front of me on my desk before asking if the proposal has been approved. The planner says that while my ideas are in line with what vision she has put together for the bride, she doesn't think that the rush fee, the overtime fee, or the setup fee is fair. She says I've known about the wedding since June and should have been prepared, that her client should not be penalized for my oversight. Oh heck no. I chuckle with my tongue between my teeth before I tell her flatly that is not negotiable, and ask the bride if she has any alternate arrangements. She says no, and that she thought this was taken care of after she communicated to the planner about my email in August, and just asked her to take care of it within the next week or 2. And she freaking apologizes for being caught off guard and frantic because her future husband dropped the check off to the planner the 1st of September for me after she thought it had been taken care of. I tell her I believe her and ask her if she'd like me to handle the issue once and for all with the planner, as this planner starts losing her crap and saying she only got the check for the band. All she does is nod. I pick up all the printed documents I've compiled in the last 72 hours since this crap started escalating and tell the planner to shut up or I'd make sure she regretted it. She looks caught the frick out because of course she knows exactly who I am. I am the only black female business owner in my area and I move different. I'm a local freaking legend and we all know it. I ask her how I am supposed to be on retainer when I haven't been paid and I've literally not spoken to her since June. I ask her to prove any one piece of evidence that she tried to contact me or gave me any information that I had been booked. I ask her how the heck she was even still working in this town when she has a track record of dropping the ball, most egregiously with a cancer patient's wedding where she forgot to book the venue? Thanks, hotel venue. I tell her that I will never work with her again, that I will turn away every bride sent by her no matter what name she goes by, which completely tanks her business in this area since the other guy won't either, and that I'm going to give every vendor and bride I come across a warning that she is not fit to keep her own business together, much less theirs. The bride's mouth drops. The planner's mouth drops, and all I do is sit the heck back to bask in it. The planner looks like she's about to cry as she realizes she's freaking done, forgotten in the oven and burnt to a crisp. I tell her to find the check wherever it freaking is and return it to the bride before the end of the week, or I will use this recorded Zoom chat to help the bride pursue her for the damages for her monumental screw-up. We are a one-party state with recordings, and if it was a threat, I could care less. The bride tells her that this conversation isn't done when it finally clicks that she got screwed because this crap planner couldn't be bothered to do her job and keep it together. It was only 5 checks. She also says that effective immediately, the planner is fired. The planner leaves the Zoom meeting without saying anything else. I ask the bride if she's okay, and she just says that she's been super overwhelmed with her only sister being sick with COVID, which is why 45 to 50 days out after my last email to her, and she told the planner to just pick everything in their style and pay me. The planner told the bride that she'd handle it, and just never did. The planner didn't even know that the bride had contacted me last week just to chat, because she had gotten excited again. I told her that this is why I don't like wedding planners. Sorry y'all, because it puts too many cooks in the kitchen, things get misinterpreted and lost in translation, and that I gave her my info for a reason. She is my client, not her planner. The planner's only job is to keep crap on track, and she messed up everything on that front. The bride apologizes again, tells me that she's going to take the bid and that she will be over to the store with cash shortly once she gets herself together. Updates her groom and checks on the other vendors to make sure her entire wedding hadn't just imploded. noon, the bride strolls into my store looking 1,000 pounds lighter. She says that she had been afraid to fire the planner from shortly after hiring her, but was worried about getting charged for no work being done and having to do it all over again. She just felt in too deep, and I can understand that. The bride says that she made very quick calls to everyone just to let them know what had happened and to make sure they were paid. Hallelujah, a freaking reprieve. I asked the bride what she had said to the planner, and she just chuckled before handing me a gift bag from the best wine shop in town and said, everything I freaking needed to. Sorry again, and thank you. What I would have given to be a freaking fly at that moment. She handed me the balance due and then some in cash, waiting while I counted it out, and we chatted about how she would have a story to tell. How I kept a straight face, I'll never know. She asked me if I knew any day of coordinators who I recommended, and I put her in touch with a friend I knew that had had a cancellation that day. My friend just texted to thank me for sending her the business. I ended up coming out of this crap storm freaking spotless with a heck of a big tip and a $200 bottle of fantastic wine. The bride is happy and taken care of, my friend got some business out of it, and we got rid of a terrible wedding planner in the process. That crap could have gone way worse. I have freaking peaked, and now I can't do anything but laugh as I enjoy just a sip of Sprite wine over my late lunch. This has been the best day ever. I hope you all enjoy this even a fraction as much as I have. One last update at 1:57 p.m. Bride just forwarded me a text from a planner to her. Apparently she lost the check and was embarrassed to say, so she was going to try and pay me out of pocket, which makes no sense and didn't know how to tell the bride. She found it though and will take it to the groom's job because she doesn't want to see the bride. I'm freaking dead. The real last update. I should have asked my MIL about this planner chick from the jump since she used to be the local florist here. I was telling her about the situation while I was eating and editing this. The planner has been on and off happy pills since the 80s. Problem solved. I hope she gets help. What a freaking business this is. I had no idea that the florist would have so much drama, but I don't think I ever took into consideration how much drama a wedding would stir up to begin with. But glad that she came out of it kind of spotless. Well, really spotless. She got money, she got her wine, and she's laughing till the cows come home. And hopefully the wedding goes off without a hitch. Hopefully it's a beautiful ceremony. It's happy overall. Except for the planner who, might be struggling in whatever her own life. I don't know. We don't know if it was ill intent or if she just kind of backed herself into a corner and didn't know how to get out. It didn't sound like she was trying to screw anybody over. She was just confused, lost, and, just panicking and just kept messing things up even more. Doesn't mean she's a bad person. She was just clearly not suited for all that was going to occur. So, you know what? As always, I hope everybody walks away happy and clean and ready to, throw another wedding. Story 2. My girlfriend refuses to take Plan B. My 18-year-old male, girlfriend, 18-year-old female, and I had unprotected relations today. Normally, I use a condom. Admittedly, there have been a few times when I haven't worn a condom and I pulled out. I know that's not a real version of birth control. I know it was stupid and risky. Today, I asked her if I could not use a condom and just pull out instead. She said she didn't think that was a good idea. That was fine. I was glad one of us was actually thinking, so I put a condom on. When she was getting close, she told me to take the condom off. She begged me to release in her. I knew it was a bad idea. I knew it was stupid and I shouldn't do it. But what did I do? I gladly took the condom off and I released in her. It sounded like a great idea and I felt really good in the moment. As soon as we finished, I told her we made a mistake and suggested that we get Plan B. She agreed that we behaved like idiots, but said she didn't want Plan B. I offered to go get it in case she was embarrassed or something. She refused and said she's scared to take it. She's worried about side effects. I told her I understand that everything carries a risk of side effects, but I'm sure Plan B is pretty safe. Compared to the risks of pregnancy, come on. She said she didn't want to take it and preferred to let the universe take its course regarding whether she gets pregnant or not. Look, I know that I have no say about what she does with her body. I respect that. I know the only thing I had control over was whether I wore a condom or not, and I failed at that. I'm still upset, and I can't understand why she'd even want to risk this. Relevant comments. Taking accountability / it's your fault. I know I did. I admitted it. She didn't force me. I screwed up. She admitted we screwed up. I don't understand why she's so scared to take the pill that she would rather risk possibly getting pregnant. Letting the universe take its course sounds crazy. Especially crazy since she also has since told me she thinks it's her body's time of the month to get pregnant. And she keeps contacting me saying she hopes she's not pregnant. Take the pill then. It's not that complicated. If she's scared of the pill, she could get an IUD. She's scared of birth control too. She's trying to get pregnant. I really don't think she was trying to get pregnant. I think the idea just turned her on. You're naive. Nothing she's ever said indicates she wants to have a baby right now. She's been texting me since last night about it, how she doesn't want to have a baby and she's scared. Ovulation cycle. OP clarifies her last period was January 30th. I just looked it up on a calculator and it says she would likely ovulate today, and the best chances for pregnancy would be to have relations a day or two before ovulation. If all that is accurate, I'm screwed. She baby trapped you for financial security. I'm 18, a senior in high school, and have no job. I'm going to college in the fall. What kind of financial security would she think she was going to get? She's not that stupid. On why she might be scared of birth control. She goes to an all-girls Catholic school. Who knows what kind of stuff they're being told about all this stuff there. One more from OP, because many say he's blaming her when it's his screw-up. I said it's not my fault that I can't be the one to take the pill. I did not say that removing the condom wasn't my fault. If I could be the one to take the pill instead of her, I would. I'd be doing it for the sake of both of us. Unfortunately, that's not an option. She's the only one who could do it. I also acknowledge that I understand that I have absolutely no say in what she does with her body, whether that's Plan B, abortion, etc. Nowhere have I blamed her for where I messed up. In my original post, as well as a number of comments, I've taken full responsibility for that. Not sure why people continue to comment as if I'm blaming her. If she gets pregnant, we are both to blame. Yeah, I wish she'd have taken the Plan B. Do I think she's completely to blame if she ends up pregnant? Definitely not. I don't see this as her problem only. It's our problem. If we have a baby, it affects both of us, and I'm not a POS who would just walk away. I said we, not just she. IMO, we both screwed up. It's not like I released in her against her will. She wanted it in the moment. I acknowledge that I could have and should have said no. I made my own free choice to take the condom off. She's not to blame for what I did whatsoever. I just think we were caught up in the moment. But afterwards, I felt like I was doing the responsible thing, as responsible as you can get after doing something so stupid, by suggesting Plan B and offering to get it. I feel like if you don't want a baby, that's really the only option other than abortion once the deed's been done. She keeps saying she doesn't want a baby. She's scared, panicking, etc. So I offered the only real possible solution there could be at this time, and she turned it down. Better than throwing my hands up and saying, well, there's absolutely nothing we can do now. If you truly don't want a baby, there is a solution. And I'm sorry that due to biology, she would have to be the one to take the pill instead of me. Did I yell at her and demand that she take it? No. Did I specifically say that all of the people here suggesting that I crush it up and slip it in her drink were creepy and that I'd never do something like that? Yes. I am angry at myself for what happened. Update, 18 days later. This is an update to my original post about my girlfriend refusing to take Plan B. Her period was due a few days ago, but it didn't come. She wanted to wait a week or two to take a test. She just wants to avoid everything. I bought the test because she was too embarrassed to do it. She said she'd take it this weekend. Sure, she'd probably mysteriously lose the test before taking it. I made her take it last night when I was at her house. It's super faint, but it looks positive. There's a barely visible plus sign there. You have to look really close to see it. Can there ever be situations where it's false positive this early on? Could it just be a trick of the light or something? I feel my world is ending now. I know it only takes one time, but what are the chances that the one time we have unprotected relations and I don't pull out, she gets pregnant? I learned my lesson. I was never going to risk it again. I was going to be so good after this. Relevant comments. Have you talked to her about an abortion? The conversation hasn't gotten that far. There was very little talking afterwards, just her crying for ages. Mini update in comments. 11 days later. Not really. She took another pregnancy test a few days after the one with the really light line. It turned positive immediately and didn't even take the full time to show up. She keeps saying, I can't have a baby, but she also refuses to tell her parents or anyone else. I keep telling her she's wasting time. She's wasted over a week. Relevant comments. Abortion? She's scared of it just like she was scared of Plan B. She needs to stop avoiding the problem. Can you talk to anyone? Offer anything? I told her I'd pay for it, that I'd make the appointment for her. Anything. She says, I'm not ready. She's made me promise to give her a few more days. Now she says, give her until this weekend. I'm going to tell my parents at this point if she hasn't done anything. I don't know what else to do. Update 2. 16 days from the last post, 5 days after comment update. Title: My girlfriend is pregnant and wants to keep the baby out of fear. My girlfriend is 6 weeks pregnant. We've known she was pregnant for about 2 weeks. She took a test as soon as she missed her period. She's been putting off doing anything about it. She's scared of every option, just like she was also scared of birth control and taking Plan B. Now today, she told me she's decided to keep the baby. She can't do adoption, and she doesn't want to get an abortion. In her words, this only leaves keeping the baby. She doesn't really seem to want to do that either, but she's too scared to do anything else. I don't really understand how the thought of becoming a parent isn't the most terrifying option to her, because it definitely is to me. I get that it's not my body, and I have no say at all. I just think she's not making a decision based on reason. If she truly felt like she wanted to have a baby and be a mom right now, despite what I think or feel, then I'd feel like it was at least more of a valid decision to make. She thinks it's the least bad of all the options. Never mind that we're both 18, graduating high school this year, and supposed to go to college, and neither of us have jobs. She hasn't even told her parents. So she's assuming they're going to help financially and probably in other ways too. I'm sure you'll be shocked when I tell you she's too scared to tell her parents. I told her I don't think somebody who is scared of every single thing is ready to be a mom. I'm not ready to be a dad, but at least I'm not sitting there frozen with fear, not doing anything and making huge life-changing decisions because of it. She says, it's not going to be that bad. It's a baby. There are many worse things than a baby. And she says things like, maybe we're supposed to have this baby. I told her no, this isn't some sort of kismet or dated occurrence. She's pregnant because we had unprotected relations, that's it. Because we're idiots. Not because she wants to believe the universe wants this to happen and she's destined to be a mom to this baby. I can't even imagine her telling her parents ever. That's just how she is. I think she'll wait until it becomes obvious and they have to ask her, then she'll finally admit to it. And by that point, they'll be a million times more angry than they already will be. I'm freaking out. I want to go cry to my mommy if I'm being perfectly honest. Relevant comments. Her parents. As for her parents, I don't think they're unsafe. I'm sure they think she's a virgin. She goes to an all-girls Catholic school. So yeah, they have a certain set of beliefs. But I don't think there's any reason to believe they're unsafe. Honestly, she hasn't actually said it, but I think she's probably hoping that she won't actually have to be the one who tells her parents. She knows she'll get in trouble no matter what, unless she had an abortion and didn't tell them, which is totally a valid option. I think she's more scared of the actual abortion. I think she's not on birth control because her school has told her some sort of fear-mongering information and statistics that has her convinced she'll die if she takes it, or her parents will find out and she won't be their little girl anymore. I said in a few other comments that she basically wanted everyone to ignore when she turned 18. It was strange. Girlfriend's Catholic school. You were taught by nuns? How long ago were you in school? There are definitely no nuns at her school. They still have the plaid uniforms though. She loves the uniform. It's kind of weird. They have traditions too, like each year they're allowed to wear different things, like seniors can wear colorful cardigans instead of just the school colored ones. It's like a big deal to be able to wear your colorful sweaters as a senior. We went to elementary and middle school together at a Catholic school. Then when it was time for high school, she actually chose the all-girls school herself. We have like 4 to 5 Catholic high schools around here and her parents let her choose which one she wanted to attend. That's what a lot of students at our grade school could do, but it's super rare for any of the girls to pick the all-girls high school. Like, I probably know of 3 girls who actually chose to go there themselves, and about half the families in our neighborhood send their kids to Catholic school. Maybe you're not the father. Get a DNA test / is the math working? I wouldn't really see it as a relief to find out I wasn't the father. I get it. Everyone should protect themselves legally, and I'm sure when it gets to that point, maybe I'll need to have a DNA test done for legal purposes. But I'm pretty positive I'm still the only person she's ever had relations with. Generally, ovulation takes place mid-cycle, so your period would be due about 2 weeks after that. Pregnancy is counted from the date of the last period, and the date of her last period was January 30th. I now know more about ovulation and menstrual cycle than I ever thought possible, on if OP will leave. I can't really imagine being responsible for supporting myself, my girlfriend, and a baby right now. It's crazy to think about. But I wouldn't go off to school and leave her behind to take care of a baby. That wouldn't be right. Tell her you're talking to your parents no matter what. The reason I haven't told my parents my side of the story yet is because I'm pretty sure they'll contact her parents right away. I was trying to give her time to tell her parents on her own. She begged me to wait to tell my parents. I told her that she has through this weekend. If she's scared of the pill, how is she not scared of childbirth? It makes absolutely no sense, but I guess birth is something she can ignore and put off for a while, and it'll just eventually end up happening. I don't know. On why she was scared of Plan B. It turns out she was scared of Plan B because she read several stories about it being extremely painful and women wishing they would just die because the pain was so intense. So she decided she would rather just take her chances. We're actually going to the same college. Update 3. 2 weeks from the last post. 7 weeks from original post. Title: Told my parents that my 18-year-old male girlfriend, 18-year-old female, is pregnant. My girlfriend and I are 18 and about to graduate high school. We're both planning to go to college in the fall. We screwed up and she got pregnant. I tried to get her to take the Plan B pill right after we had unprotected relations, but she was too scared. She wanted to let the universe take its course. Now she's around 8 weeks pregnant. She hasn't been to the doctor or a Planned Parenthood or anything like that to confirm any dates, but online calculators say she's 8 weeks. She's not taking any actions right now. It's like she's just ignoring it and hoping it'll go away. She regularly freaks out and cries to me about it, saying she can't be a mom. I offered to help her get an abortion to be with her. She's too scared of that. I think she really needs to tell her parents now because I don't know what else to do. I think she just wants to hide in it for as long as possible, and that honestly freaks me out. So I warned her I was going to tell my parents. I gave her like 2 weeks and she did nothing. So I finally told my parents last night. We were all in the living room and I just decided to say it, because there was never going to be a good moment to say it. I basically just told them I did something really stupid and now she's pregnant. My mom really wanted to believe that I was joking or pranking her. She said she knew I was having relations with her, but we talked about being safe, and she was like, "How many times have we had this safe relations talk? How many times?" I could tell they were both really disappointed. My mom just sat there staring at me silently for what felt like ages. My dad was like, "You can't be a dad. You've never even had a job." My mom was really trying hard to not yell at me. She just stayed silent for a long time. Finally, she asked me about what my girlfriend says she's going to do. I explained everything that's happened so far, and my mom said I did the right thing by offering to get Plan B, and that's all I could do at that point since it's my girlfriend's body and her choice. My dad says she's an idiot if she thinks she's going to just have this baby and everything will be sunshine and rainbows, and that she'll be ruining both of our lives if she does that. He said we'll figure this out as a family, and there's no way I'm not going to college. My mom said we need to support my girlfriend right now because she is all alone, and I'm too much of an idiot to be able to help her on my own. My mom seems to feel bad for my girlfriend now about how she's so scared to do anything and can't talk to her parents. I asked them to please not immediately tell her parents. My parents are the type that will definitely inform her parents if she continues the pregnancy, but my mom is going to try to talk to her first. Her parents are religious. My parents aren't really religious, and my mom is a nurse, so she can hopefully be a little more unbiased in that respect. So I'm supposed to invite my girlfriend over to our house today. I'm not even telling her that I told my parents. I'm sort of tricking her into this conversation with my mom. My dad won't be there because that might feel too weird for her. I know if I let her know that I told them, then she won't come over. She's going to be really upset, but I honestly feel relieved. Relevant comments. Symptoms. She's starting to have symptoms. She's nauseous, has thrown up a few times that she's told me about, and her boobs hurt really bad. I think she probably has an anxiety disorder just based on this and other things. I also think it's like you say, and she's avoiding having to confront it until she can't ignore it any longer. She'd rather make a decision by not making a decision and basically have her only option be decided for her. More on their schools. We go to different schools. I go to a Catholic school, but my family isn't really religious. Even at my school, we learned all about how relations and conception work, and we were told about condoms in health class, but also told that hormonal birth control is bad. She goes to an all-girls Catholic school. I have no idea what they're taught there, but I feel like they're pretty progressive in some respects based on what she tells me. Good luck with child support. Why does everyone keep saying a lifetime of child support as if that's the worst or hardest thing here? What about being responsible for raising a whole human being? That's what terrifies me. Even though it was hard, you did the right thing in telling them. Thanks. I know my mom was crying about it later last night because my dad told me. I feel bad. It's not my parents' fault because they talked to me about it so many times and even thought I had condoms. I made my mom feel like a failure, according to my dad. It honestly is a relief having told them now though. Did you tell your mom that she asked you to take off the condom? Yeah, my mom forced me to explain how exactly this happened since she knows both her and my dad have drilled it into me to always wear a condom. It was very embarrassing. Update 4. 2 days later. I just made a post about telling my parents that my girlfriend is pregnant. My mom, who is also a nurse, decided she needed to talk to my girlfriend. So I invited my girlfriend over to our house yesterday, but I didn't tell her that I had said anything to my parents or that my mom was planning to talk to her about it. I know some people thought this was wrong to do. Maybe it was, I don't know. I knew she'd be mad at me, but I also knew she'd never come over to let my mom talk to her otherwise. My girlfriend knows my parents. She's over at my house all the time. As soon as she got here, she had to run to the bathroom because she was sick. But I don't think it was the throwing up kind of sick. My mom was basically waiting there as soon as she got out and let her know that I had told my parents everything. The look my girlfriend gave me told me she hated me in that moment. She tried to leave. I asked her to please stay. My mom wasn't going to yell at her or be mean. She just wanted to help. She kept saying she didn't want to talk about it. She doesn't need help, etc. I think my mom did the best she could. She was nice about it. She did most of the talking, and my girlfriend just sat there mostly in silence. She didn't try to pressure my girlfriend into anything. She basically just said that no matter what decision she makes, she can't continue to ignore the situation because that'll only make things worse. If she wants to consider abortion, time is really limited. My mom explained exactly what happens during both forms of abortion. She told her if she is going to continue the pregnancy, she needs to get medical care to make sure everything is okay, everything is growing in the right place, etc. My mom even gave her resources for where she can go to get checked out if she doesn't want to go to her normal doctor right now. And if she's keeping the baby, we all need to figure out what's going to happen since the two of us are nowhere near ready for that. As soon as my mom said the word adoption, my girlfriend said, I can't do that. My mom was not trying to convince her on adoption, just trying to talk about all the options. My girlfriend cried a lot. She said she's still thinking about everything. My mom asked her to please let her help her make an appointment, just to find out how far along she is and that everything is okay. My girlfriend said no, she'd do it herself. My mom offered to help her tell her parents. My girlfriend said no, she's not ready for that yet. I know my mom was frustrated, but she didn't really show it. My girlfriend wasn't going to open up no matter what my mom did or said. Then later, after my mom left us alone, my girlfriend told me she's sorry but she can't get an abortion either. But she couldn't tell my mom that in the moment. So that's it. She's not going to get an abortion. She's not going to give it up for adoption. I'm going to be a dad and my life is over. We're not going to college, or if we do, it'll not be at the college of our choice and not with any sort of normal college experience. Forget about dream careers. Forget about everything we thought our lives would look like. I'm going to have to get a crappy job that doesn't make enough to survive, let alone support a baby with. We're going to need government assistance. We're going to struggle from this day forward for the rest of our lives because she thinks getting an abortion would be murdering our baby. Oh, and she loves me so much that she can't kill the baby we made. I feel like an absolute butthole because I know I made the mistake that caused this, but I just think she's not thinking this through at all. It's 100% emotion and nothing rational about it. When I asked her how in the heck she thinks we're going to take care of a baby or what our lives will be like with a baby, she says, I don't know, we'll figure it out. It wasn't worth it. I'd rather wear 5 condoms at once. And yes, I know you shouldn't double up condoms. Rather than ever have unprotected relations if I could just go back. I was up until like 3 a.m. just feeling like the world is ending. After she left, I told both my parents about what she said. I may have had a bit of a breakdown at that time. My mom said we weren't going to talk about it at all today, so our family came over for Easter and we all pretended like everything is perfect and answered all of my relatives' questions about my college plans as if any of that is still happening. Relevant comments. Trade school. We have absolutely no trade-related training at my high school. I heard there used to be a little bit of that back in the 80s. Generations of my family have gone to my high school, so it's more of a tradition that I go there than anything, but they are hardcore college prep. Pretty sure there's nothing like that at my girlfriend's school either. She goes to an all-girls Catholic school. They got rid of all home ec stuff there and she was glad because she said the cooking classes would stink up everything. But she said they have nothing that isn't academic anymore either. Possible abuse? I think she's just scared of going to the doctor, scared of facing reality, and scared of her parents finding out. She's never been to a gynecologist. More on GF and her family. I don't think she's having relations with anyone else or has been SA'd. Crazier things have happened, but I just don't get that feeling at all. It wasn't the first time we had unprotected relations. We'd done it a few times before, but I always pulled out. This is the first time she asked me to release inside her. Well, it's the first time she actually told me to do it, but not the first time she'd talked about it. She was turned on by the idea. At least that's what she told me. She really likes relations. I know it's hard to believe that somebody seemingly so scared of everything would even have that. She was very nervous about it at first. She wanted to do it, but was scared somebody would find out and that she'd get in trouble. She had never even played around before. I was the first person to touch her in that way, according to her. For a few months, all she'd let me do was touch her with my hand and get her around that way. That was the first time she ever had a release. Now she watches explicit content and has bought herself a toy. I know her family. On the outside, they seem like a perfect family, like some sort of 1950s TV family. They're religious, but not nutcases. They just have Catholic beliefs about relations, marriage, babies. Her dad is super nice. Her mom is nice, but her mom has substance abuse issues that the entire family covers for. I don't even know the full extent because she will not go into great detail, but I've seen enough firsthand just by being around them in their home. Seen a doctor. I know. My mom tried to talk to her about it for all the reasons she needs to go see a doctor, about how dangerous it can be if she doesn't get medical care. Then today she texted me that her stuff is smelling very weird. I'm like, go to the doctor! What if you have some sort of infection that is dangerous when pregnant? I don't know anything about this stuff. I think I'm going to try making an appointment for her somewhere else where she doesn't have to use her parents' insurance since she obviously won't tell them yet. She's not going to make an appointment. No, I'm at the point of doing it for her. Why can't you go to college? Sure, leave her here with our kid while I go off to college for 4 years. Doesn't seem very fair. Money is one thing, and whatever job I could get while in college full-time would not provide her with very much child support. But what about actually taking care of a baby? She's just supposed to do that all on her own? College housing. I just checked and there is no on-campus family housing there. We're going to the same college. Well, we were going. They have daycare. The fact that I'm looking at daycare for my baby is enough to make me literally feel weak, like the ground is about to fall right out from under me. Stop playing the victim and sign your rights away. I'm not going to sign my rights away as if that's even a thing. I'm not going to abandon my kid, and I think kids need more than just financial support from parents. So if I want to have a freak out that my life is going to quickly go from revolving around me to completely revolving around a kid, my kid, then please let me have that. Update 5, 1 week from previous post. Instead of answering every comment, I'll just post this sort of update here. Last week we were both on spring break. What should have been the best spring break of my high school life sucked. I hoped to convince her to go to the doctor last week. That didn't happen. She won't come over to my house anymore because she's afraid my mom will corner her and try to talk to her more. She told me she couldn't see a doctor over spring break because she had a lot to work on for school and she'd be too stressed out by a doctor's appointment to get any of her work done. I told her I was going to tell her parents. She got mad and said she's 18 and I have no right to tell her parents. I asked her what she thinks is going to happen once her parents find out. She said she didn't know but wasn't ready for them to know yet. Maybe she wouldn't tell them and would just go to college. Okay, then what happens if she gives birth in her dorm room? I told her it was really freaking me out. I ended up having a full-blown panic attack on Saturday. Never had one of those before. I started to feel really dizzy before I lost my hearing and threw up and seriously thought I was having a heart attack and about to die. My mom was monitoring my vital signs the whole time. Once I recovered from that, she basically just said she doesn't think my girlfriend is going to end her pregnancy and we just have to move forward with the idea of a baby is coming and what needs to be done to cause the least amount of damage. Editor's note, April 10th. Confirmed fake. Mod found a deleted post from the account on February 11th saying they were a 30-year-old woman. Therefore, the post has been marked as fake. I never would have found it, so thank you to those that did. What the heck? Why did I just go on this whole emotional roller coaster like I was ready to care and pick sides and tell who was in the wrong or what's going on and how I can, maybe pray that they will find some sort of common ground to be able to build a life for this child, but it doesn't even exist. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how to feel. You know what? I'm going to approach this from the stance that it is real in case somebody is in a situation like this, because I'm sure it happens pretty often. One, yeah, it is definitely his fault, and I can see how easy it is to fall into that in the beginning. In that moment, that is very easy, especially if someone asks you to do that, and you go, well, by all means. So, very unfortunate. You're not exactly in the right headspace, and then you do have some clarity afterwards, And, it's too late at that point. Once you already do the crime, there's not much time left. And his girlfriend was not comfortable about taking that. And, she has her reasons, whether it's the doctor's appointments or the pills or the abortion or the adoption or whatever it is, completely valid. That's her mind. That's her body. And I'm sure that not only was she talked to about a lot of different things, but 18 years old, that's got to be so terrifying and scary. And, as easy it is to sit there and blame somebody or read the story and go, why wouldn't you go to the doctor? Why wouldn't you do this? And why wouldn't you do that? To think about if I was in that position and I was 18 years old and you're just kind of scared and scrambling. So if this was who's in the wrong here, it's hard to actually say somebody is wrong when on both sides, they're both just scared kids and trying to figure out how to approach anything and go forward. Luckily, OP's parents seem to have a good head on their shoulders. We don't really know much about the other parents outside of the fact that they have no idea what's going on. But, his mom's a nurse, if she was real. His mom's a nurse, and it's nice to have somebody in their corner that can kind of guide the ship. Even if nobody's listening, it's nice to know that somebody is taking care. So again, if you are in this position, somehow it's actually not that rare, but if you are here, just make sure you take care of yourself. And also, if you're in the same boat of nobody's listening, try to also have compassion and understand that literally everybody is scared and terrified. So rational thought isn't always, right there to grab. So, you know what? If it's real, it is real for some people. I hope you guys are doing okay, and I pray for the best. And, what a stud. At least the guy really wanted to take care of the baby rather than just pay money. So, kudos. Story 3. His mistress made him a better husband. I feel nauseous. This is a throwaway. I'm just nauseous and want to vent. Please let me do it here. Everything changed about 3 years ago, and my husband became my dream man. Before that, we suffered a lot in our marriage. After 2 hard pregnancies and PPD, my libido was diminished and we fought all the time. After 4 years of dead bedroom, we started therapy. I thought that was where the improvement came from. My husband started paying attention to me. In the beginning, I was panicking because whenever he paid me attention before, he expected relations, but now it felt like he was seeing me as a human being for the first time. He was attentive and caring, emphatic. He touched and cuddled and kissed me out of the blue, without wanting anything in return. He started helping around the house, bringing me flowers, takeout dinners when I work late, planning date nights. Anniversaries, birthdays, and holidays are planned perfectly, and I started getting the most beautiful and thoughtful gifts. When we fought, he would come the next day and admitted his wrongs, and very accurately, if he was the one in the wrong, something he never did before. He would apologize too, when back in the day, him apologizing would be a blow to his ego. He said he was happy all the time and lucky to have us as a family. Everything was better, and I even got my libido back, if not as high as I had hoped. I found their conversation about 5 days ago, and I have probably spent over 50 hours reading them. 3 years worth of conversation. He would tell her his woes and she would listen. 99 out of 100 times she sided with me. She taught him about intimacy and how important it is in marriages. The tragically funny part is that he never got angry or offended by her telling him off, calling him silly, stubborn, or at times a man baby. Her honesty was brutal, and yet he agreed with her. She was the one suggesting all the changes, and he would ask her for advice about gifts, traveling, and all the beautiful things he did for our family. He thanks her all the time for helping him turn his miserable home life around, making it tolerable. Within these texts, there were the texts between them that are about them like nobody else existed. The flirting, the explicit talk and pictures, the longing to see each other. He says she is the love of his life every day and that he wishes their circumstances were different. She says the same. They both agree that divorce would ruin their families and that they couldn't be that selfish. How admirable. I feel nauseous. My happiness for the past 3 years was fake. I don't know what to do. I want to hurt them. I want to expose them and I want to ruin whatever they think is perfect happiness. Hi, I'm getting chat requests about my comments not being visible. Is this normal? I'm trying to answer you guys. Sorry. Hi again. Since I can't comment and I can't answer all the chats, I will answer here. I am 35. My husband is 39. We have 2 children, 9 and 7. She is 40 and she has 1 child, 14. She is in a dead bedroom with her husband too, and for 14 years. The affair is physical too, yes, but they meet maybe once a month or every other month. She tells my husband that what they feel is probably limerence, but that they don't know it yet because they meet so little. She lives in another city. Relevant comments. So basically your cheating ex is trying to blame you for him cheating. The delusion of cheaters. You only informed the mistress's husband that she couldn't keep her legs closed to a cold breeze. He had a right to know. Onwards and upwards. Update me, OP. He didn't blame me for anything. He doesn't care that he cheated. He was only angry that her husband hurt her and her child. Maybe my post was this convoluted that everyone here is thinking he is trying to put the blame on me? He doesn't care at all. He just thought I should have confronted him instead because he was the one who cheated on me. I told everyone around us what he had done and he doesn't even care. Update. I was here some weeks ago with my original post. I finally decided that I really should reach out to the husband of my husband's mistress. I found him easily and I contacted him. He didn't believe me at first and was rude about it, and he told me to go F myself. I hesitated to contact him again, to be honest, but after a few days I realized that I would too not believe a stranger just popping in my DMs accusing my significant other of cheating, so I recorded my husband's phone with my phone. Especially the messages where she sent explicit photos and stuff. I also went to the contact to show the number. He didn't answer me the first day, then he called me the C word and blocked me. I thought, well then, I've done my part and it's on him if he believed me or not. Then after a week, my husband came home angry and he yelled at me for exposing them. He asked why I didn't confront him instead. My problem was with him. I have never seen him yell like this. Then he packed a bag and left for about a week. I think he's traveled to her. When he got home, he said that it was over. He said that he's been trying to make me happy for years and he's done everything a good husband would do, but still, nothing was good enough for me. I've made him miserable for years and instead of taking it out on him, I chose to hurt a woman and her child. He moved to his parents' house and now he's renting an apartment. I have heard that he travels the weeks he doesn't have the children to be with her and that she's moving here soon when she gets full custody of her child. I have not been feeling well at all. He has never spoken to me directly since he left and I haven't seen him. He adamantly refuses to talk to me, like I never existed in his life. I don't know what I have done to deserve this treatment. I hate that they won. Relevant comments. User 1. The last 3 years of your marriage were a lie. You know that now. Who he is the person he treated you before his affair partner had to convince him to be good to you. He is not a good person. Do they even really know each other? Like how it is to be around each other on a daily basis. They are genuinely dumb to think the list will stay with 3 kids around, plus handling chores and day-to-day things of life. They have 2 custody battles ahead of them and divorces on top of it. If he's angry with you the next time you have to see him, ask him why. He got what he wanted. He wanted to be with her and now he is. So why is he angry that you gave him what he wanted? It's probably shame that he's painted to be a cheater. Not that he can't manipulate the narrative and paint you as the bad person. If what they want is each other, let them have each other. They're both awful people, so they deserve one another. OP. He is not angry about the divorce. He is angry I told the husband instead of him because the husband hurt her and her kid. User 2. He's not angry because of that. He always assumed that if you found out, he could gaslight you into thinking that it was somehow your fault or not happening, but by you telling the other husband, there was no getting around it. OP. No, he is angry about me putting his AP in danger. He doesn't care at all about staying in our marriage or not. He was only with me to help raise the children and probably wait for her to get rid of her husband. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but the sooner I realize the truth, the better for me it is to move on, I think. Update. I want full custody of my children after he went and beat up his mistress's husband within an inch of his life and ended up in jail. This morning I got a call from my mother-in-law that my husband has been in jail for the past couple of days and only got out this morning, but the charges weren't dropped. Apparently his mistress and her husband had another altercation last weekend and she ended up hurt again. Now I want full custody of my children. He is out but charges are not dropped, so it will probably lead to some punishment. I don't know if family court would count this, in case I want full custody and supervised visits. My mother-in-law was hostile when I told her this, and she's one of the people who have supported me, so I am expecting some pushback. I don't care. Relevant comments. User 1. You probably should not have let your MIL in on this idea. Her first reaction is going to be that it will threaten her ability to see the grandkids and her son's ability to be a father. Even if you think she is on your team, you have to assume she isn't. OP. Yeah, it was a big mistake. Goodness, I do not like a cliffhanger, but that is all the information we have to work on. It's just a really crappy situation from top to bottom. I was hoping that the mistress's husband was being metaphorical when we heard that he had hurt her and the kid. I was maybe thinking emotionally, maybe just mentally, which isn't great either way, but, to know that he was actually physically hurting them. I honestly feel the fact that OP's husband went there and beat him up, I mean, more power to him. I can respect that a little bit on that front, and all the crap that he is. I mean, he betrayed the trust and the care and the loyalty of someone that had put their faith in him, a marriage and a family, and he's completely thrown that away. So definitely not a good guy, but I respect at least that someone was there to defend them. But oh my gosh, it's just, all these stories suck so much to know that the families just fall apart. And it's always, I feel the most for the kids that no one even really talks about as much. I mean, these kids are just bystanders in these families that blow up. And I just hope that they're also being taken care of. And it doesn't always sound like people are in the best frame of mind to do that. So I'm wishing the best for the children. I'm wishing that everybody can kind of gather their thoughts and their feelings and operate as maturely as possible. If these things don't work out, that, they can move through it with diligence and, just careful steps to make sure everyone's safe and as happy as can be. But still sad in the end. Story 4. My husband, 39-year-old male, has thrown me, 27-year-old female, under the bus to his family with his silence and complete lack of spine. How do I salvage this? My husband Owen and I have been trying for a baby for years with no luck. I would be happy to adopt, but Owen's family is against it and has influenced my husband to also be against it. After our second year of trying, I begged my husband to go with me to get a checkup to see if either of us or both of us are infertile. He was strongly opposed to this, as all the men in his family are extremely fertile, but eventually gave in, and as it turns out, his count is extremely low. He was heartbroken, as was I, and we both got therapy. After a year of no longer trying, I got pregnant, but lost the baby, and we are devastated. Owen blamed himself and proposed that we start the process of getting into a family planning center for a sperm donor, which I agreed to. He asked me that we not tell either of our families about this or our friends, and I agreed because I would never want to emasculate him. With the help of our donor, I was able to successfully become pregnant, and we had our little girl last year. She is healthy and progressing amazingly, and I thank God for her every day. I kept my promise and never told anyone. However, Owen is struggling with connecting with our little girl. Here is where the trouble begins. Last month, when he went out of town with his brothers for their friend's bachelor party, while on the trip, Owen told his brothers about our infertility issues and that our baby wasn't biologically his. One of his brothers must have told his wife, who told my husband's mother. I don't know why she would tell my husband's mother, except that she has never liked me. Their mother then came to our house and called me a lying woman and tried to get my husband to leave with her. He just stood there silent. I told her that it was Owen's decision not to tell anyone, and she asked him if this was true again. He was silent, which his mother took as me being the liar. She then went to our nursery and started taking everything she'd ever given us for the baby back. I told her I didn't care about it, and I made more than enough to buy everything she gave us myself and better quality. This set her off, and she called my baby a filthy turd. When she said that, I did something I know was harsh, but I believe she deserved it. I physically pushed her out the door. I didn't hit her, but I did put my hands on her shoulders, pushing her out the door, and threw all her crappy things out with her. After spirits had calmed down, I realized my husband had said nothing when his mother was berating me, calling me a liar, and when she called our child a filthy turd. So I asked him why he was silent, and he said he wasn't raised to be disrespectful the way I was, and that his mother hadn't said anything that wasn't true. She was just hurtful with what she said, and that we should let it go and wait for his mother to forgive us. I told him that I would never let it go, that his mother and anyone who agreed with her was not welcomed in our home, and that I don't need to be forgiven when I've done nothing wrong. He then said the house was his, and as the head of the family, it was his decision. I said fine, but why did he allow her to call me a liar when those things are not true and our child, no child really, should be called a turd? He just repeated he would not argue with his mother. After that, I stopped speaking to him and started gathering up my daughter's things and purse and walked out the door with her. He tried to stop me and told me I couldn't take his daughter anywhere without him, and I lost the little bit of composure I had left. I told him she wasn't his daughter. He'd proved he didn't see her as his daughter when he'd allowed his mother to call her a filthy turd and told him she wasn't his. He broke down into tears and begged me to come back inside, but at the time I felt nothing and he looked pathetic to me. I've taken my baby with me and gone back home to my parents and finally told my family the truth, which feels so good. They are completely in support of my decision and are not allowing my spineless husband anywhere near us as he still refuses to apologize to me or set the record straight with his family. However, I told the sister-in-law that I was close to the truth and she told the rest of his family. Half of his family is understanding, while the other side is on his mother's side, but they all are mad at my husband. I need time to cool down, but I know eventually my husband and I need to figure our marriage out. One thing is for certain. I will not return to his house until he apologizes to me and promises to protect me and his daughter fiercely. I want to see this in action form, starting with him telling his mother what she did was wrong and banning her from coming to see us until she asks for my forgiveness. We were also planning on having more children as he wants a big family, but that is off the table as I don't believe he is ready and we both need to get back into therapy. Relevant comments. Ask yourself this. Do you believe he is capable of changing? Everything he has said and allowed to be said to you is nothing but disrespectful. OP. I am beginning to conclude he does not love me enough to change or protect us. User 2. Does he have any redeeming qualities? It does not seem so, and I'm sure you are aware there is nothing worth saving. Please don't allow yourself or your child to continue to be abused by these total AHs. OP. I will most certainly never allow my baby to be abused verbally or physically, and his redeeming qualities are few. User 3. I am confused. Your husband had a low sperm count, but he was still producing sperm, and the IVF clinic would normally harvest your husband's sperm and choose the healthiest candidate and then inject it directly into one of your eggs. Why did you decide to get a third-party sperm donor when your husband was still producing sperm, albeit at a much lower quantity? Defective sperm and low sperm count are not the same thing. OP. A healthy donor was less expensive and had a higher chance of success than IVF. We've had many friends who did IVF and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars only to have no results and or more miscarriages. We explored all our options thoroughly and he chose this one. Update 1. I want to start by thanking those who were so kind. Your words of encouragement and advice were greatly appreciated. Here is my update. Apparently, after I left my husband's house, my MIL, BIL, and SIL accused me of cheating. I'd already begun speaking with a lawyer after Owen refused to tell the truth to his family, but knowing he let them tell other people I cheated is like getting punched in the chest. I'm now renting a nice 2-bedroom apartment. My siblings and their partners have helped me furnish it, and my top priority is ensuring my baby has everything she needs. Currently, I'm working to create a cozy nursery for her and hiring a nanny. Facing the end of my marriage is terrifying, but I'm learning to accept my new reality. When I notified Owen I was going to file for divorce, he started calling and messaging nonstop. His messages range from begging me to come home, telling me he will tell the truth and get therapy again, begging to see our baby, and then threatening to drag me home. I told him the divorce was happening whether he liked it or not because he failed as a husband and failed even worse as a parent. He then sent photos and videos of my things in the garbage and him and my BIL trashing the nursery. His exact words, "I don't need it anymore." In the most disturbing video, he threw our baby's car seat in a dumpster. I do not recognize him or his behavior anymore. He claims to miss his daughter and me, but is trying to make his behavior my fault for not doing what I'm told. This is not the man I agreed to marry. The man I married was smart, kind, gentle, thoughtful, and funny, but this vileness from him was waiting for me the moment I didn't obey and take the disrespect from his family to save him from the humiliation of his infertility. Before the fallout with his mother, he was nothing like this. It's certainly not an excuse, but I believe it all centered on him feeling emasculated and humiliated by his family. I just can't believe he couldn't at least stand up to his family for me and our baby, the one he said he would die for. I am not blocking Owen, as my lawyer said to email everything he says to me to him, but the constant threatening messages make me scared to leave my home. Owen knows where I work and has repeatedly told me he will drag us back if that's what it takes, and that I'm making him do this. My lawyer and I are working on a restraining order, but every woman who was attacked by your ex-husband knows restraining orders don't keep you safe. However, things took a turn when my FIL showed up on my parents' doorstep, and it's the reason I decided to update. My FIL asked to speak with me. My parents told him they would call me and ask, but if I said no, then that was final, and he would not be welcomed back. I only agreed to speak to FIL because he told my parents he was there to apologize for his family and set the record straight. My dad called me as my FIL was blocked from calling me, and when I picked up, my FIL immediately apologized for his wife's behavior. He wanted to hear my side of the story as he did not believe I cheated. I thanked him. I was never close to FIL, but we've always been civil, and let him know of course I did not cheat. I told him of his son's infertility and that Owen proposed we get a donor. I told him very clearly it was his son's decision, and that because my FIL and his family put blood as the only valid form of family, my husband made me lie so our child would be treated equally. After I finished, my FIL seemed stunned. He was quiet for a while, then asked if his wife and son could come over and see my daughter in person as they missed us and were ready to be a family again, but I told him no. FIL then asked if there was anything Owen could do to fix the marriage, and I again told him no. FIL tried to say I was being unfair, but my dad stepped in and said FIL was overstaying his welcome. Before I hung up, I told FIL that his son was sending me abusive messages daily, and if he truly was sorry, then he should make his son stop. Then I hung up. My parents said my FIL was irritated that I did not respectfully say goodbye or give Owen a chance to save his marriage, but left with little fuss after my parents laid into him about raising his swine of a son to threaten his wife and child. Telling his father must have worked because I haven't gotten a single message from Owen since then. I do not want anything from my STBX, not child support, not alimony, not the house or any of his other assets. I just need him to agree to the divorce and give up his parental rights so my little girl can grow up with a family who loves her unconditionally. I have a good degree and a great job. My child and I will be fine without him. Owen's lawyer has made it clear they're going to fight us for full custody, and my STBX has significantly more money than me, but my lawyer is confident in our case and I trust them. Today, my MIL has been trying to contact me as she wants to be in my daughter's life and is saying she is ready to accept her as she is, as if my daughter needs to be accepted by her. If it's up to me, their whole family will never see us again. Additional comments from OP. Owen has destroyed hundreds of thousands of dollars of my electronics, clothes, furniture, and paintings. That's the only thing I will be making him pay me back for. I don't want any of his assets, just the things I worked hard to earn and he destroyed. There is a report. I don't know what will come of it. I had been living with my parents for 2 weeks before the first post, and already had started to talk with a lawyer. Whether or not me and my husband worked on our marriage, I planned on not living with him for at least a while after he said it wasn't my house, and my parents pressured me to get a divorce attorney immediately when I moved into their house. Even when I still slightly thought things might not work out, I was preparing. I went back and forth mentally, but I knew this was not sustainable. My family did most of the work finding me an apartment and paying for furnishing it. It just took a while for me to leave my parents and physically move in. My only truly recent update is my FIL talking to me and learning, through my other family, my MIL wants to reconcile. Relevant comments. User 1. You're a fool not to get child support. You should go for court-ordered support. His paycheck garnished. OP. Maybe I'm a fool, but this isn't his child. He doesn't care about her. He just wants to hurt me and make me go through this. User 2. It doesn't matter if she is biologically his or not. Child support is for the child, and legally, he is the father. You'd be a fool not to go for child support. I get not wanting anything of his for yourself, but, as I said, the support is for the child, and goes to the child, and represents his part of the care for her, especially if you push for full custody. It's to help provide for her care. Also, what a freaking POS. You're a saint to not push for what you're legally owed. Gosh, what a turd. I'm glad you got her and yourself out of that situation. OP. He doesn't want this child. I'm beginning to think he never wanted a child, he just wanted to fit the part. I'm going to take care of my daughter. I don't need his money. She also has my whole family looking out for her. My baby will want for nothing. Why would I force money out of a man who does not love her and has no connection with her apart from staying in my life to make me miserable? User 3. Going to be buried in the comments, but how does one move out, find an apartment, get the rental papers taken care of, move into and furnish a new apartment within 3 days? Seems a stretch. OP. This update is not chronological by day. I'd been living with my parents for 2 weeks before I made my first post, and my family was working to get me out of my parents' house the entire time, as well as furnishing my apartment. I paid for some of the things, and my siblings, their partners, my parents, and many other family members donated and bought things. Trust me, I could not have done this alone. New update. Update 2. Firstly, I'd like to answer a few questions many seem to have. No, I did not sign a prenup. Yes, my MIL was very controlling from the beginning of our marriage, but my husband set boundaries with her when I asked him to at the time. Back then, I was confident he would hold to those boundaries. My husband and I are not American, and we do not live in America. That is all I'm comfortable saying on the location or ethnicity. A 12-year age gap is not uncommon for us, and my family was 100% for the marriage. at the time, as he was seen by all as an excellent match. For those saying I am wrong for not allowing my husband to see my daughter, you can kindly show yourself to the door. He has forfeited any rights the day he allowed her to be called a turd, and his continued actions or inactions afterwards, I think, make that abundantly clear. Not wanting alimony or any compensation might be difficult for some, but I will not struggle without his money, and neither will my daughter. I may not have as much money as my STBX, but I have a good amount saved, and I thankfully never stopped working. My family has also put aside money for my daughter, and everyone is very supportive of us. I understand some might think I'm entitled to half his assets, and that may be true, but I don't want them and I don't need them. I trust my lawyers. They are doing an excellent job. I've already made my decisions and I stand by them 100%. Some of the evidence I've handed over of my husband's threats and the videos of him destroying our things will be admissible in court, but not all of it. My lawyer thinks what we have is enough for full custody, but I'm still nervous. Our divorce is another matter. I believe he simply wants to hang on to control. I have only spoken to him in person once since I left his house, and when I look him in the eye, I can tell he doesn't love me anymore, or even likes me, which hurts a lot more than I expected. I don't understand why he won't agree to a non-contested divorce, except control. Owen has partially paid me back for the damages to my property. The rest will be paid out in the coming weeks. We have settled this out of court. I was able to get the restraining order against my ex, but not my MIL or the rest of my ex's family. My MIL continues to harass my parents to convince me to reconcile. This is a massive embarrassment for her family. My SIL, the one who told his mother about my husband's infertility and started this drama, still tells people I cheated, but my friends have ripped into her lies and few people believe her. Being alone has made me realize I have been functioning as a single married woman since my little one was born, but now I have less of a burden on me. There are good days and bad days where I break down. There is much about my life before that I do miss, but I will never go back. I'm thankful the truth is out, even though it has caused me to lose a few friends as they've taken the side of my husband. They know the full truth and they still chose my husband's side. Thank you to all those that offered kind words of support. We are safe. Relevant comments. User 1. Glad you have a good family support system and happy you and your baby are okay. Did you ever hear from your FIL again? He seemed to be the only stable one on their end. OP. He has not tried to contact me or my family, and yes, he's the only stable one. Although he could do a better job keeping his wife from harassing my family, I understand he can't control her actions. Another tragic story comes to a close. I mean, it sounded like they had a good relationship and a good marriage of very brief descriptions before the baby had come along. It just kind of sucks that everything dwindled away and there's no longer any, love or any respect. And I have so many thoughts. One of which is there is a 12-year age gap, and she constantly keeps saying how controlling he is. That is usually a pattern where men have younger girlfriends or wives that tend to be more controlling, and that could very well be something that was always there that she may not have picked up on. The comment about my house is crazy to say to your wife and your daughter. And, it sucks if they really did want a kid and then it kind of went through this different path. But she also brought up the idea that maybe he never wanted kids in the first place. He just wanted to kind of fit the part and fit in or whatever. And I don't know why he was so against adopting. I mean, if the issue was that he can't bond because you don't share the blood or whatever, if you the stepdads are amazing and they don't share any blood, but if that's the issue, I don't understand why the sperm donor was a better idea for him rather than adopting, where they both can take in a child who really needs them, rather than create a new child that you're just not even going to support and care about. Which is easy to say after the fact, for me to just criticize that decision, but he could have been a good idea for him at the time, and maybe after it happened he regretted it. But what do? There's a child now that needs love and protection, and no one's offering any of it except this wife. So it's a crappy situation for real. I can see different perspectives on a lot of it, but it's unfortunate for the wife first and foremost. I mean, she was married to this older guy. He's controlling. They want to have kids. It doesn't work out. She says, maybe we can adopt. And he says, no, we got to have kids and only by this way. And then they do. And he's like, well, I don't really like this way. and then they kind of just snowball into a crappier and crappier mess. And you know what? She's building her life back and trying to make the best out of this whole situation, and she's got a daughter that she loves and cares about, and anyone who's kind of being threatening or dangerous to her needs to be removed and far away from that child as far as possible. So again, wishing the best for everybody. It's always a sad story here on Reddit.